to make
sounds
sure
good.
YouTube's going, you know,
You're right.
and PVN. So, okay, let me see. Kiddo. Still waiting. Still waiting for YouTube to connect. Let's see. Weird.
You know what? In the meantime, I'm going to close my window because it's kind of noisy outside.
Okay, go for it. What is going on? Yeah, it's not. Oh, here we go. Finally connected. Okay. That's good. All right. Okay, it looks like we got lift off here. I'm gonna. Well, they can hear us, so it's all good. Okay. See you in a minute.
Unapologetic liberal talk. It's Tarabuster with Tara Devlin.
All right. All right. Let's see. Hey, guys. This is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. YouTube is just kicking in now. I don't know what the hell that was about. It took a long time for it to catch up. But anyway, hi, guys. And we meet here every Friday evening. I want to thank Charlie from APS Radio News for all your support, keeping the show going and growing, and all your support of the community cats, because right now it's very cold, and it certainly matters that they have those shelters that you bought them. So thank you so much, Charlie, for doing that. I was outside for about 5 minutes earlier in a sweatshirt, and I thought I was going to pass out. It's really bad out, but anyway, so yeah, just think about the poor little animals out there. I feel bad. I wish I could save them all, but I only live in a 1-bedroom apartment. 4 cats and a guinea pig is my limit. Okay. But, okay, guys, we have a very special guest today. Let's see if I can get the button. Here comes the button. Yay!
Yay!
Bella! What? How do you pronounce your last name, Bella?
It's Gorenser. It's so funky.
Okay, Gorenser.
Everyone gets it wrong since as long as I've been alive, as long as graduation, that was my biggest fear, that they were going to get it wrong.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, it's Gorenser.
Gorenser. What? That's a very nice name. I was trying to look it up phonetically and all that. I wouldn't have gotten it right. So, thank you. So Bella is the associate producer of the Stephanie Miller Show. You also do your own show, right? On Political Voices Network.
It's brand new, yeah. Extra Credit with Bella with a Z. I just started doing that about 2 weeks ago, and it's been really fun. The whole concept of it is, the Gen Z perspective on all these problems that we're discussing every single day. And as we say on the Stephanie Miller Show, the general sweep of arms.
Right. And I often feel bad for young people now. I grew up on the wrong side of Reaganomics. That's where I was born. My father was, beneficiary of the New Deal. And I saw the tail end of Reaganomics, well, of the New Deal, when they started dismantling the New Deal. But your generation has really gotten the raw deal of, the shit
Yeah.
show of Republican policies. And can you talk about that a little bit? What it's like
Oh
for
my
you
God,
guys?
of course. It's absolutely insane because my freshman year of high school, so that was in 2016, that was when Trump was elected, as we all know, to his first term. And when I started high school, I was 14. I was 14 for the majority of my freshman year. So I was just kind of getting politically aware, kind of gaining consciousness for the first time, realizing and understanding, life, whatever, how it works. So that being my first introduction to it was kind of crazy. That I distinctly remember, and this is a kind of a funny story. I didn't exactly know when I first started high school what a Democrat was and what it was. I was 14 years old. And I will never forget a girl who I went to school with on the day of the election coming up to me and saying, "You're a Republican, right?"
Oh,
and
no.
I just went along with it. I was like, yeah, totally. I'm a Republican. Obviously now I would never say that.
Right. Because you had no idea, right? You didn't know. You're like, yeah, whatever. I'm a Republican.
I had no clue.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, sure.
Because of Trump? Because where did you grow up?
So I grew up on the central coast of California in San Luis Obispo. Both of my parents are from Los Angeles. My mom was born in El Salvador, but she moved to LA. She immigrated to Los Angeles when she was, I want to say, about 3 years old. So I grew up coming to Los Angeles a lot and, being immersed in different cultures, staying with my grandmother. My grandmother lives in Koreatown. She's lived in Koreatown, for a very long time. So I luckily, despite living in a predominantly white community, I was exposed to different cultures. And that was kind of how I, eventually aligned with the Democratic Party. But growing up, a lot of my friends did FFA, and they were a part of like 4-H, these agricultural extracurriculars. And a lot of people who I considered close friends in my childhood ended up becoming Republicans and Trump supporters.
Oh, really?
So it was kind of easy pipeline to fall down.
And what's FFA for people who don't know?
Future Farmers of America.
Okay, yeah.
So typically those, for some reason in SLO, a lot of the teenagers who did FFA, for some reason they just aligned Republican politically as they got older.
That's just bad messaging. See, all of this is a result of the fact that the Democratic Party sucks at messaging. It really does. Because the Republicans, I'm a farmer, so I'll be a Republican. That just seems like natural. But it's the Republicans don't do shit for the farmers. In fact, they fuck them all the time. So, it's really, this is where the Democrats really piss me off. And this is why, I do what I do and what you do. And what Stephanie does, because I really believe that we're on the front lines here, like trying to get this country back. It all starts with a message, just like, you're saying your friends fell into being a Republican without even knowing what that meant, right?
Yeah,
like really. Like, what do they get out of it, though? Right? Like, what is
it? No, especially in high school, I was like, we can't even vote. Like, this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean.
But what were the young people at the time think? Like, what did they think about the Republican Party? Like, if they fell into it, were they like, we're the the tough masculine guys or whatever?
So one of my best friends from childhood, who she was a Trump supporter for a very long time. I think recently she's kind of dwindled off of it.
Wow.
But when we were in high school, and, we played volleyball together. We were on the same club team. So, she was in my life a lot. I couldn't just like ignore her and not be friends with her anymore. And I remember asking her, because this is like my sophomore year of high school. I joined Young Democrats Club. I'm getting involved. I'm understanding what's actually going on. She says she's a Republican. And I asked her why. Like, why do you like Trump? And she says, well, I like how he speaks his mind. He's not a puppet to the party.
Oh,
and
that shit. So who was that? Well, that's what she was hearing. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Of course. Yeah. So it just seems like for Gen Z, at least what I heard the most in high school from Trump supporters, it was always, he's not a puppet. He's speaking his mind. He's going to get, he's drain the swamp. Like that. They honestly, Gen Z, California Republicans believed drain the swamp.
And he is the swamp. I mean, what's the swamp?
Exactly.
That's the swamp. He's the fucking swamp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what's so disgusting. And there again, another missed opportunity with the Democrats for, the Democrats never stick up for themselves or government or, give this party of personal responsibility. Let them take responsibility for the disasters they create. I mean, draining the swamp. Like, what is, I mean, it just goes to show how fucked up this country is really. Like, we're in big fucking trouble. Like, what do you think is, I mean, as a young person, I'm like in my late 50s now. So, if I die, I guess, oh, well. I've had a life. That's what I think. I'll go out because, like, what's encouraging to me is that even though people are being murdered in the street, people are still out there in the bitter cold weather, and we're just not going to lay down for this monstrosity. And I believe, we have a duty, pledge our life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other. And if I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to say I want to die or anything. I don't. I'm not even why I'm saying this. I'm not going to stop. Yeah. So if that's the consequence, but because there's so much on the line here, and there is. For your generation especially, like what? I mean, it's so fucked up. Like what a betrayal.
It's so crazy because like I said, my freshman year of high school, Trump gets elected. It's terrible, obviously, COVID, everything. Right. I start college. My freshman year of college, Biden is elected. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, there's a switch happening. The pendulum is swinging. This is great. We're reverting back to where we should be. Obviously, California. I went to school in California, but I went to school in Orange County. So there was Orange County, for those who don't know, in the state of California, it swings pretty red, but it's purple. I'd like to call it a purple county. So I was getting, seeing both sides to it, there during an election. It was very exciting. Obviously, me and my peers were very happy when Biden won. And then the year I graduate, the year I enter the workforce, all of a sudden we're right back to square one. And I think most of my peers and most of my friends, it's, the job market is terrible. Rent is at an all-time high. It's just becoming increasingly.
I'll just lower that. Go ahead. It's just my cues too, because this show goes on Progressive Voices app on Sunday. So those are the music cues to cut for commercials. So, but we can.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Go ahead. But you can keep going.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Sorry, I should have warned you.
No, you're so good. You're all good. This is all new to me too. So it's just. I feel like though, at least for me personally, we were always taught like, oh, in America, it's very like every man for himself, like everyone can achieve the American dream. And now, as I'm entering the workforce, I'm paying rent, I'm paying my taxes, I'm paying my car payments.
Wow.
I'm like, shit, like it is like every man for himself at this point.
It really is.
I gotta focus on me while also having to fight a revolution outside. Like,
I know. Right.
And I think that's why a lot of Gen Zers are swinging more independent at this point, because they just don't want any part of it. They're like, you know what? Like, you guys messed this up for us. I need to make up for lost time. Why would I try to fight for the country that didn't fight for me?
Wow.
Which is really sad.
It is sad.
That's not how I feel. But there are tough days where, the news is a lot in the morning at work. And I come back home and then I'm like, oh, rent is due next week. I'm like, what? Damn, like this is really tough,
Yes.
But this isn't anything that previous generations haven't dealt with, like, is it a different, level nowadays? Yes, I would say so. But, like there have been different stages of this previously that previous generations have had to deal with.
And the fact that what makes me sad to hear is young people, like you're saying, saying, that's it, I'm out. I'm not going to participate because the system has betrayed me. Well, then you're only going to get betrayed even more if you don't
Right.
participate. That's the
Absolutely.
catch
Absolutely.
22 there. Yeah, the
Absolutely.
system has betrayed all of us because we've been stupefied by this divided media. That's really what happened since the
Yeah, totally.
Telecommunications Act of 96. They signed by Bill Clinton. And since then, we have Fox News that brought us Rush Limbaugh, that brought us these silos of information. So, it doesn't have to be this way. One of the things that I thought about with young people, because I grew up in the beginning of the internet. Well, when I was
Totally.
little, there was no internet.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then came the internet. And it was amazing. I remember chatting with my friend in California, I was like, could you believe? Like we were emailing back and forth, and and I was like, can you believe this? It was like, this is amazing,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but then I saw my nieces and nephews, and they grew up in a very small world playing video people who were from different countries on teams. They would be on like video game teams and things. And so they see that other countries don't live like this, that they don't come out of
Totally.
school with, as an indentured servant to banks, that they have health care, that they, don't have to, that they could take a vacation, they could take a sick
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
all guaranteed. So what about that? Do your friends, I know you are aware, but
Yes. Yes, like as me and my peers have entered, the workforce in the last year. This is March. Recently, it was a year exactly of me on the Stephanie Miller Show, which is my first full-time job out of college,
wow.
and whenever I go on vacation, or I take a weekend trip, or anybody I know, any of my friends take a weekend trip, it's always the same sentiment when we get back of, damn, and now we have to just do this over and over and over
Right.
again and live for those little moments. Or as like people in France, people in Spain get a month off
They
during
do.
the summer.
Yeah.
And and like you said, they can take a sick day. They
Yep.
can go to the hospital if they think they need to
Yep.
go to the
If they're sick,
hospital.
they don't have to think about it. They just
And
go.
they don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And it's kind of crazy because two people who were very dear friends of mine in high school, who we kind of drifted apart during college, they recently moved overseas together. They live in Spain now, and
Wow.
I'm seeing
Yeah.
that happen more and more, where people are trying to leave the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah.
and live elsewhere, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, me neither.
It's a lot better in some
It
places.
is. That's why my friend moved. She went to, because this was years ago, she moved to Sweden because she had rheumatoid arthritis, and she lived in Georgia. Like she just, she couldn't take care of herself there because she had no
Yeah.
health care. So she's like, I'm gonna die, live and live in pain, or I can get a
Right.
job in Sweden, where
Right.
and she lives there now, and at a safe distance. And I think a lot, if because my grandparents came from Ireland, and I often think, why the fuck did you leave, Granny?
Right.
But she left when we had FDR in office, so and things were looking up. So,
Right.
and that's what one of the things that Hal Sparks talks about a lot, that when we get this country back, there's going to it will be such a revitalization. It'll be such a
Yes.
boom, because
Yes.
it will be like opening up the spigot in a
Right.
desert. Right? And it does, yeah, if we can get
Yeah.
this motherfucker
If,
out.
if and when, yeah.
Right, because they're planning on stealing it. That's the other thing
Oh,
that's so
absolutely.
depressing, that they're planning on stealing it. And the reason, and what's so to me is that I read about Hitler, and when I was growing up, my father was like a big World War II buff, so I love history, and we would watch Nazi documentaries together and things, and
Right.
I always felt like it was that I felt lucky that
Yeah.
I was it. Now I feel I have no idea that it would be so hit so close to home. Really, I fear of us, right? That's what I thought. I really did. That's why it's almost shocking how many ICE agents that they can even find people to sign up for it.
Oh my God. That's the kicker to me. That's the kicker to me, is that like it's like these it's so sad that they created a system where, you know, whatever the bonus was, whatever that extra signing bonus was that they added for ICE, like the $10,000, $20,000, that was the reason people were signing up initially. That's how they got so many people, is because so many people were so desperate for that bonus to, you know, pay off their debt, feed their families, whatever.
That's
they
a
felt
lot
that
of
they
money.
needed to go to this extreme to do it. And again, it's so tough because, like I live in California, I live in Los Angeles. We are kind of in a little bubble down here. You know, it's very rare I meet someone who isn't a liberal, and
that's good.
I have to remind myself.
Yeah,
I have to remind myself that the rest of the country is not like this, and I've never experienced a world that's not majority liberal. And I'm reminded of that fact every single day, that there are some terrible, nasty people in this country who think that what's happening is totally fine.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what's so depressing too, because I wonder about what like this friggin' right-wing albatross around our national necks. They drag us down. Their states are poorly run. You know, they're shitholes. They treat people like shit. I'm just sick of being dragged down. I mean, even the first time when the asshole got elected, despite receiving fewer votes, like, why are we always under this tyranny of this minority death cult all the time? I'm sick of them. I mean, and, you know, I always say we should just, not always, but I wonder if secession wouldn't be a more rational course. Like when you're in a shitty relationship, you just say, all right, fucker, go. You know, take the couch, JD. You know, I mean, I know you want the couch, right? So, like, fuck off. And we'll have, you know, we'll have healthcare, education, science, diversity, living wages. Doesn't that ring nice? But how, like, tell us, how did you, so this is your first job out of college. How did you end up on the Stephanie Miller Show?
So this is my first full-time job out of college. It was kind of funky. So I was an intern at SiriusXM my senior year of college, and that was a super fun experience. I got hired part-time. So that was technically my first job once I graduated. I was working part-time at Sirius. I eventually got a part-time job working for iHeartMedia. I was working at KFI AM 640 in Los Angeles. I was a board op there.
Nice.
And I eventually came into contact with the producer for Dr. Laura, ironically.
Okay.
Worked with him a little bit, and he knew Ron Hartenbaum, who infamously is, you know, the big scary old man with the money bags.
Exactly. And the no kings pin. Right?
And the pins, yes. And when Stephanie was looking for, you know, a new technical director and associate producer, the producer of the Dr. Laura show remembered that I was complaining about working 2 part-time jobs.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And he recommended me. So then, like, a couple days later, I got on a call with Chris and Stephanie, and that was it. They were like, "Yep, we love you. All right, come in next week." And I was like, "Okay, great. Quitting my other job."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now I still do some freelance stuff for different podcasts in the LA area, and I was working at Sirius for a little bit. There was a little bit of overlap, so I'm still taking on a couple, like, random, you know, positions.
That's
here
always
and there.
good to keep your doors open and your connections, right? Yeah.
But Stephanie's my flagship, which has been fun. Yeah,
that's amazing. So, you know, how do you manage? I guess because you're liberal, so I guess that's why. You know, it's the early mornings must be tough, because I know you sometimes you know, contact me early in the morning, and it's like, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I look at my phone and I'm like, you know, it's 9 o'clock for me, but it's like
for
6
you,
a.m. Yeah. I'm like, you're already going.
It was a really tough transition at first. I had an existential crisis when I was debating taking the job. And, you know, I was talking to my parents a lot about it, my peers, my partner. I was like, hey, like, this is great. It's a full-time job. It's, it's
Right.
in radio. Like, this is perfect, but the hours are
Yeah.
so rough. And I actually spoke to an old friend of mine who I went to college with, who I did college radio with, who she worked on a morning show as well under iHeart. And I reached out to her and I was like, hey, you did it. Do you think I can do it? And she was like, oh, it's a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. You'll get used to it.
You do.
And that was what convinced me to be like, all right, yeah. And I have gotten used to it. There are some mornings when the first segment, I am dead silent because I am still waking up. And by like halfway through the first hour, I can participate after I've had my cold brew and I'm ready to go. But it really just depends. I'm sure sometimes if whoever's listening to the show, you can tell there are some days where I am just not there mentally.
Right. Well, it's tough to. That's what I wonder too, because I know you get up so early, but like I do my show at night, and then the other Tarabuster in the afternoon. That's reasonable to me because it gives myself a mental second to wake up and start absorbing the nightmare, especially a day like today, where we wake up to see Don Lemon arrested for doing journalism, and more to come, of course. I mean, they were after him. So when you saw that, what was, I mean, you're in the belly of the beast here. You have a target. We all do. Stephanie especially too. Yeah. Because of what she does. Yeah. What we do.
It's so crazy. I saw that this morning, and it's funny because like Stephanie has made comments on the show before, like, agreeing with what you just said, that she's concerned sometimes about, her safety and like from this administration, what's going to happen. And it's not that I disagreed with her, but I was like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Like, that's not, I don't think that's going to happen to us. That can't touch us. And then this morning was the first time where I genuinely thought, damn, this 100% can happen if we go too far. If John Fugelsang, for example, or Hal Sparks or whatever, if any of them, like, poke the beast a little too hard, this could very much happen to them as well. And don't get me wrong, like, I feel like the Don Lemon situation, like, he'll have resources, he'll get lawyers, he's going to the case is going to get dropped. That is, absolutely. I don't think it's going to last longer than a couple of weeks, but just the sheer action of it and what it stands for, and the fact that he is a queer African-American man is like everything on top of it. This is just such, like, it's just a warning sign.
Yeah. Exactly. They pulled him out of his house in the middle of the night to send a message. And frankly, like, I'm sure maybe if that were me, I keep saying, like, that would just piss me off even more. And I was listening to him. He was releasing, his statement was, I'm not going to stop doing journalism. Like, this is bullshit. And that's the reaction people should have. We should turn it up, frankly. Yeah. We have to.
And that's my mentality, is like, they can't, genuinely my mentality has always been, they can't arrest all of us. If we all, hit that level, that Don Lemon level, and do real journalism and really, really like test it, like they can't do it to all of us. So why not try?
Right. No, you have to. Yeah. You can't go down without a fight. This is the truth. Like, of all the people who fought, bled, and died for this grand experiment in liberal democracy, to speak, to be free. That's what it means. And it also means, like, to be free. This is what I hope what we're doing, to be free to take a day off, to be free to go to a doctor, to establish your life without being an indentured servant to a bank because you got an education. We want people to get educations. Republicans don't even get me started on that. No, as someone that just graduated again, and I'm so thankful. Education was always a privilege for me. Like, it was a privilege to be able to go to a private, get a private education as well, because the university I went to was a private university. I could have gone to state school. I had the offers, but that it just didn't align with
what I wanted to do long-term
Where did
career-wise.
you go?
So I went to Chapman University. I majored in film, with an emphasis in screenwriting, and I'm still pursuing that on the side. I'm getting in fact, I've always loved radio, and I did college radio because I was constantly hearing dialogue every single day. I'm constantly hearing conversations. It informs my writing, and it's so much easier for me to make characters because I'm meeting all of these awesome people.
You're meeting a lot of
characters.
you're meeting amazing people, and it's always about storytelling and connecting with people, no matter what you're doing, right? So
exactly, and in college, I the radio show I had was. It was a feminist radio show rooted in this rise of like the trad wife that we've seen the past couple of years for some reason. And that I feel like definitely helped me, get to where I am now, get this job with Stephanie, was that like, that was always, a part of my life. This has always been something I've been interested in, this specifically. But yeah, it's just, I think that's another thing too, is specifically switching gears a little bit, like with the rise of like the trad wife and the rise of like conservatism and conservative ideology within Gen Z, specifically within relationship.
Oh God, yeah, what the hell?
I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, this was like, there were sprinkles of this in like 2020, 2021 when I first started doing radio. And now all of a sudden it's blown up and women want this. Like, what the hell?
It's so, be careful what you wish for. That's what I think when I see that.
Absolutely.
Because they want it all. I guess they want to be taken care of on some level. They want to be infantilized, or, is that it? Like, you're that fucking useless?
So crazy. It's so crazy to me. Like, you guys couldn't get a credit card until the 90s, and now you want to go backwards?
It's like, what? Ridiculous. Well, that's what's so annoying too, because the leaders of this movement, they're not they're in control. It's like it's what's her name, Phyllis Schlafly, the same thing. Like, she was not a stay-at-home mom while she's telling everybody this is what you need to do. She was working.
Same thing with Erica Kirk.
Exactly, Erica Kirk, the fucking professional grief monger or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 5 days. Did you see that? I think you were talking about that earlier. Was Stephanie talking about that earlier? Yeah, well, she's 5 days after he's murdered. Her husband is murdered. She's going on about how much merch they sell. They sold a lot of hats.
It's disgusting.
Isn't it? And then she's like, I guess this isn't what did she say? I guess this isn't, this might be taken the wrong way or whatever. Like, what?
Something like that.
I mean, if my fucking, my cat died, I couldn't behave like that. Like, at least I sold a lot of merch. I mean, it's like, that's supposedly your husband, that's your soulmate, supposedly.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's all a front. It's all a front. Yep. Like,
that's
Erica works every single day, and she's pushing this ideology for women. Yep. And especially with the country we live in right now, it is so rare among Gen Z for a man to make enough for him and a partner.
That's right. That's right.
So how, like, you're gonna have to work, you're gonna have to do part-time something retail, like, to support you and your husband,
because
like,
they're fucking
me and my
delusional.
partner barely get by.
Right. Because the maggot ideology is based in delusion anyway. It's all bullshit. That's why it makes sense that they eventually have an outright con man as a standard bearer, because it's always been a con. Trickle down is a con. Tax cuts pay for themselves. That's a con. Deregulation means equals economic boom. That's a con. Like, it's all bullshit on top of bullshit. So, it's just, I didn't even think about that but that's what they all want. They all want to go back to the good old days. But when they're going back to the good old days, they're talking about that, like, Leave It to Beaver, post World War II era. But they only want to go back for the social mores, like the strict racial hierarchies, the strict gender mores, but they don't want to go back for the 90% top marginal tax rate that made it possible to have one income to support an entire family. They don't want to go back for that. You know what I mean? The top marginal tax rate of 90%, the 35% unionized workforce. And this is how delusional they are. They just want to go back for everyone in your place, and that's what it's you're 100% correct, because it's all bullshit. But it's a setup too, because people it makes people feel like shit about themselves, because then you can't compete, you can't do it, you're struggling, and what's this American dream now, right? You're not, I guess you're not manly enough to live up to it or whatnot, so here's some more people to hate, right? So
it's 100%. Really, and that's the sad part too. I feel like why we're seeing a lot of men kind of like adopt this mentality, young men, is because they were taught growing up that this is something that they could always achieve. And the fact that they can't achieve it, and even worse, the fact that women are achieving it.
Oh, yep.
God forbid, because it's like, why can't they do it? They're like, why can't I do it? Where did I go wrong, And they're, at the end of the day, it's just like they're threatened. They're threatened by the fact that all these people who are supposed to be inferior to them are able to achieve it, no problem.
That's it. Right, and that's why they go after the the DEI and whatever. Diversity is the problem. It's everybody else. It's always somebody. It's not you. It's not the system, right?
It can never be the system. No. Right.
So there you go. Yeah, they're just propping up this broken ass system that makes the rich richer. And this is what I don't understand either. They're these young, whatever they call them, the manosphere assholes who. They're all, losers, really. And they worship this, like Elon Musk is such a fucking, they're all broken and damaged, self-loathing people. I mean, it's so clear that to me, Musk fucking hates himself. There's not enough money on earth to, make him feel like, he's not he's a con man too, just like Trump. That's why, it's true. I've done
so they get along.
Exactly. And, but to elevate somebody like him, and they're morons too. That's the other thing. He's a fucking moron. If you listen to him open his mouth, they're all morons. They're all underwhelming, like born on third base, thinking they hit a triple. But these horrible people have been elevated into power, and we get it sometimes on the chat too. People coming in here, maggots will come in and they'll be like, "Oh well, billionaires, no poor people gave me a job or whatever. Billionaires are great." Like, I don't understand this worshiping of. A fucking.
I will never understand it. That is something that has always perplexed me.
Right.
Like, especially because where I grew up, it was pretty close, like about 2 hours away from Silicon Valley. So we had a lot. I had a lot of people whose parents, came from working at Apple, came from working at all of these big tech corporations, and there was this mentality that these men, that they were superhuman, that because they made this big tech, that they could manage this big tech, they were these like these superhuman people, whatever. Like these CEOs were like, supposedly better than us, or supposedly more intelligent, more capable, which is so far from the truth. And I know that firsthand. And I don't want to say too much with this, but recently I have been working on a podcast, and we have had some guests.
It's not this podcast.
Not this one. Not this one. This has nothing to do with TVN. Nothing to do with Tarabuster. Tarabuster's clear.
Right. I'm working on this.
Yes. A couple months ago, I was doing a freelance opportunity, and I was interacting with someone who used to be a CEO of a big tech company. I cannot say which one.
No.
But let's just say he could barely figure out how to work his microphone. He could barely hold a conversation long enough on the podcast. It was terrible. It ended up being awful.
My God.
And it's like, no, these men, these big men in charge, they are not superhuman. They are not like, these super intelligent, like more capable than the average man. Like, no, that is so far from the truth. They were just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and many of them inherited wealth, and because of the
Absolutely.
skewed tax system, the
Mm-hmm.
rich just keep getting richer, and that's the way the Republicans like it. You know, that's the way they want to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do is to rebuild aristocracy and to make the
Mm-hmm.
working class the more malleable working poor. It's really true. I don't
Absolutely.
know if you saw this like at Davos. You know, the one
Oh my
thing,
God.
when that baboon was speaking at Davos,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't understand why everyone doesn't just get the fuck up and walk out of the
Thank
room.
you.
That would
Thank
be the
you.
best message to send, don't you think?
That's another thing that really, really grinds my gears and pisses me off is that other world leaders are acting like this is totally normal and are
Right.
acting like that there's nothing going on. He was interacting with every other world leader and every other, quote unquote, important tech person, in the world. And
Right.
no one said anything. No one has spoken out saying that, this was weird. He shouldn't have said this. Like,
Right.
no,
Like, get up.
if you
Right.
go to the World Economic Forum website and you see all the articles that they're pumping out about the most recent Davos conference, it is nothing but just like, hey, this is what happened. Trump said this about Greenland. Yeah. It's like, what
Like,
about it?
hello. Wow. And then they had Elon Musk there too. And I should have grabbed
They
this
did.
clip. And I don't know why, because he's underwhelming, and it's really annoying that they're constantly elevating him like he's some kind of fucking like innovator. He's not an innovator. He's just
Right.
some rich
No.
asshole that scammed his way into companies and then
Yep.
started suing people and firing people. I mean, I've done many shows about it. And he was saying that how they were talking about AI and robots, making robots. This is how fucked up these people are. And he's like, yeah, one day there'll be robots. Everyone will have a robot, and they'll do the things that you don't want to do, like take care of your infant. Okay, this is so telling. And your elderly parent, they can do that for you.
Right.
So, like, all the things you don't want to do, like what? Have a fucking human connection with
Yeah. Maybe have the
have a
robot do my
like
dishes.
yeah, like you
Like,
don't want to. Who wants to take care of their infant, right? I mean,
that's so
who would do
absurd.
that? And or their elderly parents, who would want to do that? That's just horrible. Like, and the fact that
Yeah.
we have very sick people like that in positions of power should stun and alarm us all. It should.
Yes.
We should all.
Yes, it should.
Every time I always think about this because whenever I'm on Hal's show and I say the French had a remedy for this, he gets upset because he's like, no, we don't want to go there because it was terrible. And I'm saying like, we could go there a little, maybe, not right. You don't have to go to the terrors part, right? Like maybe
course.
but he's like, it always ends in the terrors. And but I mean, come on, this is why the French Revolution happened. But now it's even worse because we get to see we get to hear the content, the malformed content of that. Of their horrible minds, calling people the R word, and I mean it's just so disgusting. So
And
I mean,
that's the
yeah,
funny thing is that, like, it's something at least that I've been asked a lot, or we've talked about on the Stephanie Miller show. Yeah, the male loneliness epidemic,
Right.
amongst like Gen Z men. And people are acting like this is a new thing. But I feel like, these men that somehow, like the Elon Musks of the world,
yeah,
they were a part of the male loneliness epidemic when they were younger, when they were teenagers, and when they were in college. And now all of a sudden that they have power, they're
Yeah.
making it everyone else's problem,
Right.
especially with Elon Musk. Because
yeah.
his obsession with, this is not my wording, this is what he said, and this is what people reported him, having all these different wives and all these different girlfriends
Oh,
just
God.
to have kids, like to plant his seed
Yeah.
around the world. It's disgusting. And this stems from the male loneliness epidemic, where they think that they need to like have a successor or have an heir. It's just such like old school thinking. It's so archaic.
And it has to be them, though. That's what it is. He thinks he's got. It's the same thing. Isn't Peter Thiel doing something like that too? I mean, they're all fucked up. These are all horrible fucked up and damaged people that need to get help. And it's really sad because for years I've been saying about Republicans, if only they would just get help for their manias and stop inflicting them on society, the world would be a much better place. Like, just go get help. You all just need to have a good cry, right? Fall into some, especially these manosphere assholes. They just need a big, strong man's arms around them, and they could just melt and start weeping. And maybe they could be normal after, or somewhat normal. I mean, but clearly, electing sociopaths isn't working, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Trump is a sociopath. Elon Musk, they're all fucking sociopaths, and they have made this country sick. And that's why, as when I think about your generation, I feel horrible about that, because that's not normal. We're not supposed to be like that. Human beings, we're supposed to feel each other's pain.
Yeah, it's a terrible vicious cycle where these young boys are seeing these men in power who are sociopaths, who have no regard for human emotion. They don't care about, human creation. And that's a big problem I have with all these tech millionaires who are, pumping out all these, again, not to go too off topic, but
no, you're fine. This is the topic. Yeah.
These robots, AI, whatever, they have no regard for human creation. They have no regard for the people behind, works of art, essentially.
Right.
They're lacking this creativity gene. So they're like, well, I'm going to make a computer that can do that. But that initial mentality of not really caring, not having empathy, these young boys are learning from that, and that's causing a problem. Wow. And I've talked about this on the Stephanie Miller show too. I have a younger sister who's 15 years old. It's her freshman year of high school right now.
Wow.
Again, she's experiencing the exact same thing I did, a Trump presidency during the entirety, hopefully not the entirety, but she's experiencing it for,
that great getting up morning will come. That's what I keep thinking it.
But
anyway.
her initial high school experience, is under the Trump administration as well, which is so crazy because we have an 8-year age gap.
Wow.
But I hear stories from her about the boys in her class, how they behave, the things they, are telling each other on Snapchat, the things they're posting on Instagram.
Really?
And there's just such a lack of empathy among young boys.
Wow.
And I think it's fully just a pipeline from the men that they're seeing on their TV screens every day, the men they're learning about and talking about every day.
That's
right. They just don't have good role models anymore.
That's so true. They from the president on down. I remember when I was a kid, they were all these fucking Republicans would be like, oh, what about the children? What are we going to tell the children about Bill Clinton's blowjob? What are we going to tell them? Now it's, grabbing by the pussy. I mean, the whole everything from we have J.D. Vance. I don't give a shit. This is what they say. I mean, they're just awful. And how else are young boys supposed to behave? It really is a mixed message, right? Like you want to. If they behave like that, you will. There's some kind of repercussions. You think you put them in timeout, but not anymore. I mean, the president is behaving like that. So how? The hypocrisy is damaging too. We are so fucked up. It really is sad.
Right? And it's so funny because if it wasn't for my younger sister, I would have no idea what the inner workings of Gen Alpha looked like.
Oh wow, is that what they're calling them, Gen Alpha?
Gen Alpha. So she's technically
Why is it Gen Alpha?
The cusp. Mm-hmm. She's technically on the cusp of Gen Z, but I count her Gen Alpha. That's the actual term. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah, that's why I
Gen
never
Alpha.
heard that. No, I'm sure it is, but I wonder why why was I Gen X?
I know.
They called us Gen X because we were
sure.
Yeah, why? Do you know why?
The thought process behind it was because they're the first generation to be born where internet has existed their entire life.
Okay.
Smartphones, technology, advanced technology has existed their entire life.
Why?
So
okay,
I think so.
Yeah.
But if it
wasn't
not
my entire life. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. If it wasn't for her, I would truly have no idea what is going on with this next wave of kids that will vote in the next major election.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how their brains are forming around this, and like the
Isn't that
opinions that
awful?
they're forming. It's so insane to me, and I try so hard with her to keep her. She's good. She's pretty good about staying
Okay.
away from
That's
that
good.
stuff. And my
Right.
parents are the farthest from MAGA. They
That's
do not.
good.
They're not into that at all.
Oh,
Thank God.
thank God.
But
Wow.
I
Wow.
worry about her at school sometimes with
Of
some of these
course.
little shithead boys that she's with every single day.
Right.
It's just scary.
As a radical feminist, right?
Hmm.
How do you mentor her
Oh my
in a
gosh.
time?
And here's
And I'm right
here's
there
my thing
with
with
you
her.
too. So yeah.
Yeah, here's my thing with her is I'm a firm believer, and obviously I'm not a parent. I don't spend a lot of time with children. The only interaction I get is with my younger sister, but I think it's really important for kids in this, altered state of political consciousness that we're in to have hobbies, because I feel like that does keep them away from
Yeah.
falling down the pipeline of just spending all their time watching these podcasts
Oh wow. Yeah.
from right wing bros, spending all their time on TikTok. Because if you spend enough time on TikTok and social media, just scrolling,
Yes.
you're eventually going to get pushed MAGA agenda. You're going to get
Yep.
pushed right wing
Wow.
agenda. That's
Wow.
just how the algorithm works. And with her, she plays volleyball. She is so tall. She's so good. That's going to be her ticket to college. She is so talented at that.
That's
And
good.
I just keep pushing. I'm like, focus on the thing that makes you feel empowered, that you're especially good at, that you can beat any boy at. Keep
Right.
keep doing that. And I think that has really helped her with her self-confidence. That's helped her just become stronger as a person, especially when it comes to standing up to these little shithead boys that she's interacting with.
Wow.
And most importantly, it keeps her off of TikTok for an elongated period of time, so she's not, getting pushed to these ads and this awful rhetoric that you'll hit
Right.
eventually if you just keep scrolling.
Right. And that's what I think. When I was young, it's hard enough growing up. And then it must be even harder when you see, when you're growing up and you see your friends like on Instagram or something and they're somewhere and maybe they didn't invite you. And then
Mhm.
you start, like
Oh,
that's
oh
just
my God.
terrible. Yeah.
I grew up with that being,
Right.
very prominent. I was a teenager when on the social media site Snapchat, when they released this awful feature where it was a little map of your area and you could see where everybody was
Oh,
on the map.
wow.
And that was a thing that if you didn't turn it off, like you could see where everybody was like at all times. The most
My
detrimental
friends are
things.
hanging out without me, or
Yes,
why wasn't
yes.
I invited? Or, yeah,
And I
wow.
think I think a big part of why a lot of these kids, a lot of these boys in particular, are becoming MAGA and becoming right wing and falling into these, ideologies is because of a lack of confidence. It's
Yes.
because, they have no pod. So
Wow.
the place where they can find solace is with these men who think that everybody's against them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really tough because it all goes back to social media, it all goes back to the tech companies, it all goes back to the billionaires. it's
Wow.
it's such a crazy little web that's been spun, and the more you think about it, the more it hurts your brain.
Right. And it hurts society. It hurts these young boys. And because, it makes sense that they would group together because they're wounded and they want to pick on somebody else. They want to, they don't want to feel that pain anymore. So they're going to target somebody, or they're going to, act like whatever. They're going to band together like a bunch of douchebags and be dicks
Oh,
together.
absolutely.
Wow. Wow. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna? I mean, I was listening to, who was it? I think it was Ruth Ben-Ghiat, and she was
Hmm.
saying that even though we're in a terrible time, she wrote Strong Man. She's a fascism, an authoritarian expert, and
Hmm.
she was saying that she believes that we will win because the
Yes.
American people are not. We are not primed for a king
Hmm.
or an authoritarian. So eventually we will
Yeah.
win, but it will
Hmm.
get darker before the dawn.
Yes.
That's what she was
And I, and
saying.
I do I do agree with that to a certain extent. One of my good friends and one of my roommates, he grew up in Russia, and
Mm.
he lived in Russia when Putin was, while Putin was in power. And
Wow.
I asked him the other day, I was like, "Do you think that the U.S. could fall into what Putin has done?" Because it's obvious Trump is kind of like laying the
Yes. That's what
foundation,
he's trying
testing
to
the
do.
waters
Yep.
to see if that can happen. And I asked him, "Do you think that could happen in the U.S.?" He said no. He said no because if he thinks that exactly what you just said, that the American people are not accustomed to it. It was easy in Russia because they were a free country for 10 years,
Yeah.
not that long. Their foundation is based on authoritarianism. The
Right.
US is not based in authoritarianism.
Right.
We've been, regardless of what our political beliefs are, we have been taught from such a young age that we are the land of the free,
Yep.
and I
That's
think
true.
I pray to a certain extent, everybody is going to start, understanding that and seeing that,
Right.
that we're going to have, something has to change, something has to swing,
Right.
eventually, Trump can't represent the Republican Party forever. And I feel like we're already seeing that this time around, and compared to 2016, where now we're seeing more Republicans, just like the not like Republicans in power, but the average man, people
Right.
people on social media coming out and saying, I am a Republican, but I am not that type of Republican. I am
Yeah.
not MAGA. And I think
Right.
that is so essential, is going to be so essential to breaking down this cult,
Right.
is
Yes.
true Republicans coming out and saying, like, I am not like that. I am nothing like that. That is not what the Republican Party is. Because, I miss it. I miss when politics was
Yeah.
amicable, and when, we could actually debate, and when, Democrats could actually maybe vote for a Republican candidate and vice versa,
Yeah.
Like I was a child, I was a baby when politics, was
Wow.
like that. But
Wow.
the more I've looked into it, I've gone back and watched old debates, with Obama and Romney,
yeah.
and like I miss it. I
know.
wish we could get back to that point,
It's true. When I know one of the debates you probably saw, I watched it not too long ago myself, with Obama coming out, and it was Obama's birthday or one of their birthdays.
Yes,
and
yes. It was
Yeah.
his. I think it was his
Oh, his
anniversary. With
anniversary.
Michelle.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's right. And he said, "Oh, I'm
And
sure,
Romney, yeah.
you'd you don't want to spend it with me." And
Yes,
they were
yes. That was the exact one I was
joking
watching.
right, and because it was so quaint, because they were just debating the issues, and there was none of this like, you're the enemy, you're a demon, you're
Totally.
you're drinking adrenochrome. I mean, what they did to Hillary Clinton, my God,
Oh my God, what they did to Hillary is what turned me into a feminist, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, after that election, when I finally, looked back at everything, my mom sat me down and we talked about it that night. Like, that is truly, like, the election night 2016 is when I had my political awakening, and when I think gained consciousness for the first time, was when I was like, oh my God, like, this poor woman has been demonized her political career, even back to when she was the first lady, obviously.
Yep.
Like, they called her complicit. They called her, all these horrible things.
Yeah, they sold merch of her, a nutcracker merch of her fucking face. I mean, like, think about that. Like, these fucking, and what was she trying to do? Make sure that people didn't have to needlessly die without health care. She was working on health care. Like, that's how sick this fucking country. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. They will demonize women, like, no matter what. Yeah, that is always going to happen in politics and everyday life. Again, like, this rise of, like, weird conservative ideology is just an excuse to take away women's voices again, to just make them incubators to pump out babies and get the birth rate. I could go on and on about this, on why I'm a feminist and why,
good. I'm glad to hear.
This has been, like, the number one issue for me, is that, while we can vote, while I can have a credit card, while I can go work a job and pay my own taxes, for now, exactly. I get scared, especially, like, after reading a book like The Handmaid's Tale and watching shows like that. It is a cautionary tale. It's a warning. Like,
Absolutely.
we could so easily fall back into that if we're not careful.
Absolutely. And in fact, Margaret Atwood said that everything in The Handmaid's Tale is based on reality, things that have happened to women and are happening now to women. So let's not kid ourselves that, time and history is not just a straight line. We go forward, and sometimes we take two steps backwards, and sometimes even more. As we know, women have fewer today than they did before they sent, Roe into history's trash bin for now, which is
oh my gosh,
another
don't even.
thing.
It was
Yeah.
recently the anniversary of Roe v. Wade getting instated into the and it's
Yeah.
just, oh my gosh, that will
Yeah.
forever be one of the darkest days,
Well,
like
that's one of the
in
things
recent
that,
memory to me.
because I talk about it on the show all the time, that
Hmm.
and I talked about it with John Fugelsang the other day. We were talking about it,
Hmm.
how the Democrats miss the opportunity all the time. I don't understand how they allow
Hmm.
Republicans to call themselves pro-life, because since they destroyed Roe, abortions are up in
Hmm.
the country, because criminalizing abortion
Yes.
does not reduce the abortion rate. It just kills
Nope.
women.
It
So
just makes it,
makes it unsafe.
more deathly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so they let women die in parking lots, and
Hmm.
they bleed out in their cars or whatever. And they don't reduce the abortion rate, and all they
Hmm.
do is kill
Hmm.
women. And what actually reduces the abortion rate are um, wages, living wages, everything we talk about: healthcare, days
Absolutely.
off, vacation, retirement security, all the economic
Absolutely.
factors. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
there you go. And everything that Republicans vote against. So
Yep.
if you're
And
really
yeah,
pro-life, this is what the Democrats should say. Anyone truly pro-life should vote Democratic, because otherwise you're just
totally.
making more abortions. But anyway,
No, I
yes,
totally agree with that. And it's so
we
funny
got
that
to
you
get
say
the
that,
word
because
out.
I've always thought that it's so crazy that they haven't, made that connection yet, that Republicans haven't made
Why?
that connection yet.
Well, the
Because
Democrats,
the main
though.
reason,
Yeah,
that too,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
the
about.
main
Like,
reason,
why? Mm-hmm.
the main reason that like girls my age don't want to have babies eventually, they don't want to be a mom, is because they can't afford it. That is the
Yes,
truth.
that's it. That's it. That
Hmm.
is the number one reason women will
Hmm.
choose to terminate a pregnancy, is
Hmm.
economics. And that there's many,
Yep.
many studies. We know this. And that's why, Democrats, all the Democrats have to say, anyone truly pro life would vote Democratic. That's the talking point,
Absolutely.
because the
Absolutely.
abortion
and
rate
and
goes
they should,
down
yeah.
under Democratic
Yeah.
policies. So,
No, and
yeah.
and I totally agree that, like, our Democratic, like, lawmakers, our politicians need to start pushing this more and more and more, because that's the messaging that works genuinely,
Yeah,
is calling them out on their hypocrisy. And I
that's
don't
right.
like, and they do it, but they do it at the wrong time. Like,
Yep.
it's too late now.
I
Where was
know.
this conversation, like 2 years ago?
Oh
When it
God,
mattered.
I know. And I would always scream at the screen, when I would hear things. They
Hmm.
just let these Republicans, lie and call themselves pro-life and talk about
Yeah.
abortion. Republicans, all they have to say is, like, Republicans love abortions because their policies make so money of them. You would
Right.
say
Right.
they love abortion, but abortion. That's all they ever do is cause more abortions. It's really the truth. And they kill women.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I know you have a hard out. I
Yes,
know, I
yes. I
know.
was just looking at the. No, I'm way past it.
I know.
But
I
thank you so
thought.
much
I
for having me
mean,
on.
thank you. Are you okay? I hope I didn't get you in trouble here.
No, no, you're
Being
all
late.
good. You're all good. It's not. It was like it'll be fine. It'll be
Okay.
fine.
All right. Don't tell them to call me, and I'll write you a note or something. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tara. This has been so
Thank
much
you,
fun.
Bella, associate producer. Tell us your last name again.
Garenser.
Garenser. That's not that hard.
Mhm.
Garenser. Yeah, Bella Garenser, associate producer of the Stephanie Miller Show. Thank you so much, and let's do it again. Okay?
Absolutely,
How would
Tara.
you
I
like
can't
to
wait to
do
come
that?
back on.
All right,
Yeah.
my friend. I'll talk to you
All right. Bye,
later.
Tara.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
so
one.
much.
See you soon. Bye bye. All right, everybody. Bella with a Z. Wait, hold on. Wrong page. There I am. Yeah, she's great. She works on Stephanie Miller. She's also helping me on this podcast now. And she's got her own show called, oh shit, it just escaped my mind as I was talking about it. Well, she has her own show on the Political Voices Network. Where is it? I'll look it up. She said, fuck. She only did a couple of episodes, but it's good, and you have to watch it. And, well, if you're political, it's called Extra Credit. Extra Credit. It was related. Extra Credit. And yeah, so subscribe to Political Voices. We need more voices like that because, as you know, otherwise the Democrats suck at messaging, clearly. And if we don't do it, who Who's the fuck gonna do it, right? Thank you, Mark, for your super chat. Oh wow, thank you, Carol, for becoming a member at the Booty Boo level. And Booty Boo is right here. As you can see, she's sleeping. Yes, extra credit with Bella with a Z. All right. That was great. It was a great conversation. And I really do feel, when is it on? What time is it on? I'm not sure if she has a set time for her show. I think she just does some commentaries and posts them at the Political Voices Network. We'll have to find out. Okay, I'll find out about that, and I'll let you guys know exactly. Okay, let's see. We got a lot to talk about. I do feel bad for young people coming up, and everything she's saying is kind of upsetting, disheartening to think about young men being influenced by the baboon and the baboonery. Oh my Lord, Jeffrey Giraffe, thank you for your incredible super chat. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, you just made my night. You win the super chat game tonight, Jeffrey Giraffe. And your handler, Joey. Let me see. Joey, you sent me something very funny earlier. Let me look at the messages here. Let me see. Oh, the Melania movie. That's amazing. Thank you, Jeffrey. Oh my God. Wow. Well, let's see. So Jeffrey's handler, Joey Bay, wrote, "The reviews are in on the new Melania movie. People are calling them..." Wait, I can't. I'm going to butcher this. "People are calling their local theaters to see what time it's showing, and they're being asked by the theater, 'What time can you get here?' Hey, what time is the Melania movie on? What time can you get here?" This movie is so painful to watch that the ghost of Abraham Lincoln said that it was the worst experience he ever had at a theater. Yeah, there you go. And, of course, Joey did not get his George Soros check to say any of those things. And thank you, Frida Love, for your super chat. Thank you, guys. Keeping the show going and growing. And thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News, for all you do to keep the show going and growing too. All right, guys. Speaking of Melania, let's talk about Melania, because she sucks. There's so many things to talk about, right? A lot of people are talking about everything else, as we were talking about with Bella, that just the general state of the world is pretty alarming. But the arrest of what's his name? Wow, God, why can't I talk? Of Don Lemon, and the fact that Tulsi Gabbard and all the corrupt maggots raided Georgia, the Fulton County, Georgia, to steal their ballots and votes, to set up a pretext. That's what they're trying to do. They want to set up the pretext to steal the election. This is what Traitor Trump was talking about in Davos. Oh, they found out. You should see everything that they found out, that the election was stolen. It was rigged. It was rigged. No, it wasn't. You're just confessing to us. It wasn't rigged. Traitor Trump tried to rig it, and thankfully there were some good Republicans. They wouldn't go that far. Sure, they voted for a fascist, but they wouldn't quite pull the ripcord on authoritarianism. They wouldn't let him steal the election. So, but that's not, we can't say the same for Traitor Trump, because he hates America, he hates democracy. And our one saving grace is that he is a finite being, and Hopefully, we will have that great getting up morning. I was thinking about that today. I was making my morning coffee earlier, and I was like, God damn it, when great getting up morning? Come on, I want to see it. I want to get that text. I want, because you know what's going to happen. I want to get those alerts on my phone. I want to get the fireworks. People are going to start sending me messages, and with the fireworks going off and everything. And the whole world, it's the most anticipated obituary in the world. But then we will have to enact a damnatio memoriae. Everything that Traitor Trump has done needs to be reversed. But it will save us, because what I was thinking is that it's sad. When I think about, for example, FDR's untimely demise, we would be living in a much different world if FDR didn't die. So unfortunately, midterm, and because we would have had the second Bill of Rights. We would have had, which would have meant universal health care, the right to a job, the right to living wages. We would be living in a much different country. We would be a happier country. We would be that shining city on a hill right now. Make no mistake. And the Democrats, this is the problem we face is media. It really is. Our silos of information. So we have to get the message back. But if we don't get the message back, honestly, I'm not going into fascism. We're not going gently into the dark night of fascism. So either we secede or we win. And the thing that's so irritating about maggots is that they think that that when Traitor Trump was elected again, they thought they won, but they didn't realize that they lost too. I saw this. Did I show you this cartoon? Let me see if I can find it. I posted it on my Substack. So you should follow my Substack, please. Let me see. But we will get to Melania in a second. She's such a bitch. She's such a fucking, what the fuck? I'm so glad that no one is going to see that bribumentary. I mean, what a disgrace. They spent $75 million on that bribumentary. They promoted it. I think it was $25 million to promote it. They gave $40 million to make it, $27 million of which went to that bitch's pockets. And, the director was a sex pest who couldn't get a job anymore because he was he's a rapist, basically. So, of course, they rehabbed the rapist. She's a fucking disgusting person. She, she was friends, not just friends. She banged Jeffrey Epstein, and then he gave her to Traitor Trump, supposedly, or gave her, or passed her off. She's disgusting. The third trophy wife of a tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator, con man, convicted felon, convicted rapist, pedo all over the Epstein files. Nude model, softcore lesbian porn model, who comes here on a genius visa, but she was here on a visitor's visa, by the way. So she was working illegally, if you call being a nude lesbian softcore porn model work. That just sounds like a weekend in Provincetown to me. Let me see, what was I looking for? I saw this cartoon. I posted it over at my Substack, and it sums it up. It really sums up what we're dealing with. Let me see. Not that. You see this? It's the take on the old frog and scorpion. Why did you sting me? I shall, and you will surely die as well, said the frog. Libtard, said the scorpion. Trump 2028. That's what we're dealing with. It makes no sense. You're hurting yourself, and you're killing us, but you're also killing yourself, you stupid bastards. That's what they're doing. They're the ones. I see this conservative YouTube page all the time. It's always recommended to me. I don't know why. And the guy wears a shirt that says, it has a picture of Mandami on it, and it has underneath it, communism kills Mandami. Oh, and he's dressed like, I guess, Stalin or something. And I think when I see that, first of all, so ridiculous, because of course Mandami is not a communist. No, who the fuck is a communist in this country? No one. There's no commie. They call me commie. We're not communists. No one's asking for communism, but okay, this is why you can't treat them normal, right? Because you can't have a normal conversation with them. They're not interested in facts. I could call them fascists. That's not a pejorative. That's just a statement of reality. That's who they are. When they vote for a guy who begins his campaign by calling Mexicans rapists and then moves on from there saying, oh, they're eating the cats and dogs, they're poisoning the blood of the nation, and he inflicts this private army, this Gestapo goons on our country, murdering our fellow Americans in the street, then yeah, they're fascists. So yeah, you could call them fascist. We're not calling them fascists. That's who they are. That's what they are. But for these dumb conservatives to call us communists, that just goes to show us that they're not interested in a conversation. You know, they're not interested in a debate about policy ideas. They're just slinging poo, because that's who they are. They know that communism has a negative connotation. No, there is no what communist party. There's no communist party worth anything in this country. It's not a viable political agenda, because there's no it's not gaining traction. It doesn't have serious players involved. So, no, we're not. That's not what we're talking about. And when what really irritates me is that listening to this or seeing this guy's picture with his stupid Mandami shirt and the communism kills, is that this guy loves communism. He loves, well, I mean, let's put it this way. He will, when we enact universal health care in this country, finally, that fucker will be first in line to get his. Just like he's first in line to suck on the government teat without the manners, the maturity, the decency to say thank you. Truly. So, except saying, oh, commie this. Why don't you fuck off to the woods? You don't like your, because we're not talking about communism, so you're not a serious anything. You're just a waste of time. But we want to do democratic socialism. Yeah, we believe in capitalism having to be highly regulated. Otherwise, you get indentured servitude. You get the middle passage. That's what you get if you don't regulate capitalism. And we believe in a strong social safety net. And that is what democratic socialism is. And all over the world, we believe that government should promote the general welfare. We believe that government, look at the founders. They pledged their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other. What does that sound like? Oh, that's too woke, right? That's woke. This is why these fucking people are just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's a waste of time. You see some clown, some conservative clown, whatever he calls himself. It's not even conservatism anymore. And just like Bella was saying, when you talk to Republicans who are gone, who left this Republican Party. They left because the Republican Party is not the Republican Party. The Republican Party is dead. It's a corpse, like Jeffrey Epstein. And this is the Republican Party. That's all it's about. Conning people with stupidity. Like, communism kills. Well, who the fuck wants communism? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, universal health care, which as soon as we enact it, you will sign right up for it. Just like all the maggots, they love their pre-existing conditions protections. They want their Obamacare. They want their subsidies. I predicted it long ago that's who they are. Just like Social Security. They all pissed and bitched and moaned about Social Security. But now, get your government hands off it, right? Dum-dums. Oh, God, they're so tedious. It's beyond. They really are. Okay. And thank you. I saw another super chat. Where the heck did it go? Thank you, JD Christie, for your super chat. They filled in public pools rather than desegregate. Yeah, that's right. That is right. They will always take a loss to keep others down. Nothing new. So true. And thank you, Mark G, for your super chat. Better that people see him melt than pass for now. And Free to Love, thank you for your super chat. Raise you. And of course, Jeffrey. And thank you, Mark, for another super chat. Most excellent discussion. Viva la democracy. We'll have Bella back. She'll be a regular. She's helping out this show now, this little old show. She's going to be trying to get us, what do you call it? Guests. Those things. Guests. The things that people have that come on and talk about things. I sound like Elon Musk, right? Those things, because who would ever want to have a relationship with an infant? So you get a robot to do it. And so Tuesday, we will have a guest on Tarabuster Tuesdays while I have it on my mind. And it will be, why am I saying it? The guest will be Tiffany Mueller from End Citizens United. So that's going to be a great discussion. Because, as you know, I always say money in politics is the root of all this evil. And that's the focus of End Citizens United. Get rid of these disgusting, laws. Well, it was the Supreme Court, the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court, that gave us Citizens United. So, and on Monday, I will be a guest on Brad Bannon's Deadline DC at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So that's good. And I don't know, I guess I can hound Hal, get back on Hal's show. Got to get the word out. Andrea, if you're listening. Andrea, if you're here, Andrea, can you hear me? Isn't that from Yentl? Papa, can you hear me? Where am I? Okay, I'm trying to find, because I want to play this clip of Melania. Back in the day, when the, what do you call it? When the con man got elected, unfortunately, despite receiving fewer votes, there was this joke, I suppose, that people said that Melania was, she was some kind of hostage, right? And I never agreed with that, even at the time. She wasn't a hostage, because people would joke, like, blink 3 times, like, blink some Morse code if you want us to rescue you. She's not a victim, a volunteer. She's a bitch. Whatever, who cares? She's a, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. She's another sociopath. She's another transactional whatever. She's an underwhelming, horrible person who doesn't give a shit about anybody else but herself. Melania. Every time I see that trailer, I was like, how does it begin? Here we go again. Shut the fuck up. Here we go again. Shut your hole, Melania. Here we go again. What a disgrace. Think about how much money that, what's his name, Jeff Bezos, paid all this money to have this bitch's not even a mockumentary. It was a bribementary. And promoting it all over the world, buying out theaters, giving away tickets. That's what they were trying to do. Nobody wanted to see that bitch. And it goes to show you, this is what conservatism is. It's all a con. It's all a ruse. Just like the New York Times bestsellers. All these right-wingers, they sell these books. They're all bought in bulk by, like Heritage Foundation or CPAC. And then they get to say, oh, it's a New York Times bestseller. But it's not really a bestseller. It's the same thing here. But except now, you can't pay people to go see that movie. I wouldn't spend I'd rather stick pins in my corneas than watch that shit. Oh my God. Is this the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show? It is. Wow. Well, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster, or the Political Voices Substack, or the Tarabuster Substack, or the Tarabuster Twitch page. And, watch the end of the show, because we're going to give Melania a case of red ass right now, and she deserves it. She sucks. And thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News. APS Radio, you could turn that on all day and listen to some classic rock and oldies, because sometimes you just need a break from this shit, right? So put on APS Radio to hear the classic rock and oldies. My lips are dry here. And classical music. Why can't I talk? I'm tired. I've been sitting in this chair, since like 8 in the morning. Oh, look. Andrea. That's so funny. Thank you for listening, Andrea. She sent me a text. I will set you back up on Hal's show. It's been a few weeks. Why not? I got to get you. You want to come on this show, Andrea? I want you on this show. Would you come on this show? Like, would you do that? But you'd have to be on camera, though. Like Bella with a Z. I love when I get the immediate response. That's so funny. I'm crying here. All right. That's great. I wasn't sure, if you were there. That's amazing. Isn't that funny? Oh, wow. Okay. So you know what happened earlier? I have to tell you. The reason I was a couple of minutes late on the show was right before, and I'm seeing these texts come in. I saw Bella texted me. She's like, I don't know if I have the link and all this. And I didn't answer her because right before I went on air, I had a kind of a major on of my computer where one of my hard drives fell over and it pulled everything over with it, like all the cameras. I have two cameras. I have one camera and a spare, and everything fell over and disconnected. So it was, not a good time before the show. And this time I had no one to blame but myself. I couldn't blame Boudica. I couldn't blame Tara Jr. It was all me. And I was only lucky that I didn't spill my coffee, too, because I have a very bad habit of putting my coffee too close to my computer. That's happened, too, sometimes. A couple of times. I've had to get a new keyboard because I've destroyed my keyboard. All right, look at this bitch. What a bitch. No wonder she sucks. Who, I mean, who the fuck would marry a con man? Okay? He's not a good person, Traitor Trump. Right? I guess I got this from Midas. I'll do that. You know what I mean? She's just disgusting. Okay, so Jessica Tarlov was on, who's great. I don't know how she does it, because I could never do what Jessica Tarlov does. She goes into that den of fascist vipers and brings the receipts all the time. And thank you, Pookie's mommy, Irene. Welcome to We Stick Together, We Win. All right. Thank you for being a We Stick Together, We Win member. Wow, a lot of people are signing up today. This is crazy, and I love it. I love you all. Okay, let's play this clip. Isn't she awful? Holy shit. Hold on. This is my premiere. Come on, I need the text. I'm getting a beach ball. Jeez Louise.
The president.
Okay, let's play it. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Thank you for your patience. You know, this is how it is on Tarabuster. Okay. Let's go.
The president is standing there and gets asked, you know, what will your legacy be? What's your focus for the second term? And he says, I want to be remembered as a peacemaker. And you added, and unifier.
I think he's unifier. He's unifier not just here, United States, but around the world.
So since...
What? See, I didn't know. I didn't realize there were special effects in this. I thought I was grabbing the real clip.
Donald Trump, quote unquote, took down the temper.
I think he's unifier. He unified the whole world. And when unfortunately, I didn't get the right clip, but she goes on to say that, well, Jessica Tarlov says, well, how is he a unifier? Like, what do you see? And she's like, he solved 7 wars. He is unify. Why not get with the program? Well, how can he be a unifier? She asked. Well, people have to get with the program. Really? So we just acquiesce to a fascist, filthy, lying Putin bitch who's all over the Epstein files, who's made himself $3 billion richer in the span of 10 months, who robbed oil from Venezuela and has it in an offshore account in Qatar, who, I mean, we can go on, who's, as we speak, lying that the election was stolen against him, who has his fascist goons in the streets of the United States murdering people. And we just got to get with the program. What's the program, bitch? Because I see the program. I'm not a dumb bitch like you. I could see the program, and the program is destroy America, destroy democracy. I guess saying destroy America is very, it's very subjective. Because when I say destroy America, I mean turn us into the system that the founders fought a revolution to overthrow. Whereas maggots, when they say destroy America, they mean make America more diverse, or help people, or promote the general welfare. That's what they mean by destroying America, is giving working people a seat at the table. That's destroy America in maggot view. But they're, it's because it's opposite day. Everything is opposite day. They live in bizarro world. Oh my God. But I mean, and we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago when we went through the Melania trailer, the dumb bitches trailer. Here we go again. Shut the fuck up. And she, you know, that she's wait, I'm losing my train of thought. She's a horrible person. They're all horrible. And when there's Russian bots, when you can't rig it, or you or like on Twitter, because you go on Twitter and sometimes you'll see things with Melania and it will be all maggots down the row. Oh, beautiful. What a beautiful first lady. So classy. The best we ever had. The greatest. The wonderful. That's all bullshit. All Russian bot bullshit. Because if she was so popular, and she's not, she's rated like the lowest first lady. Nobody likes her. Why would we? She doesn't give a fuck about Christmas. She doesn't, what is she? I don't really care. Do you? I mean, she's a horrible bitch. She's the only first lady. She has her portrait with this giant diamond on it, while her fucked up husband is robbing people blind and sending people to the fucking bread lines permanently, cutting people's lifelines. Oh, we just got to get with the program. But, oh, well, a couple weeks ago, because we did the thing about her, she pretends to know 7 languages, just like her con man husband pretends to have solved 7 wars. He's unifier. I think he unifier. She's supposed to be a genius, right? She came here on a genius visa. And she doesn't know how to string a sentence together. She unified. I thought she spoke 7 languages. She doesn't speak 7 languages either. We know this. If she spoke 7 languages, why would she, when she goes to the UN, when she's listening to somebody speak, that's supposed to be one of the 7 languages? But when you can't rig shit, the message is clear that nobody gives us a shit. Nobody wants to see this bitch. They don't want to see this bribementary. We want to see the real documentary about who she is. You know, what's the transaction? What is it? What did you have to do? What did you get? What's the prenup here? That's what I want to see. We want to see that one. Want to see the one where you talk about how repelled you are from that baboon. When was the last time he climbed on top of you, or maybe behind you, so you can watch television and think about close your eyes and think of not England, that's for sure. But he unifier. And what is she talking about? She's supposed to speak 7 languages. Isn't one of those languages English? He unifier. How long you been here, bitch? I thought this was the speak English crowd. Oh, but it's always because, different rules, smools. He unifier. How are you going to unify? Just get with the program. Where is it? No.
The president is standing there and gets asked, what will your legacy be? What's your focus for the second term? And he says, I want to be remembered as a peacemaker. And you added, and unifier.
I think he's unifier. He's unifier not just here, United States, but around the world.
So since Donald Trump, quote unquote,
not just here, but around. I mean, will you stop gaslighting us? That's what's so irritating about being alive during this time, about having to share the same air with all of these horrible people, is that we have to, always say, enough. We're not as dumb as the idiots who vote for this madness. He's unified us. That's not even how she says it. He unify. What the hell, lady? He unify us all. Let me see if I can find the actual clip. It's so fucking annoying. Will he unify us already then? If that's the case, I wouldn't mind being unified. Everyone's kind of tired of this shit. How do you unify people? Melania? By, I don't really care, do you? Is that how you unify people? You fire them. You cut their lifelines. You mock them. You call them the R word.
People know
right?
about you that they did.
Here, let's see. That's how you unify people, right? You call them the R word. That really gets on my nerves. Oh, I guess that's what Republicans like. And just like John Fugelsang was saying when he was on the show the other day, and we were talking about this, how Republicans are, you know, calling people the R word. And he said, and John Fugelsang said, I dare them to go to a school where there are developmentally disabled kids and, you know, scream it out. Scream out the R word. Do it. But they wouldn't. They wouldn't do it because they're fucking cowards. That's why. Why don't you scream it out? And I told you guys, I have a friend who's unfortunately influenced a lot by right-wing media. So he's a case in point in my life about how the right-wing media is the reason we're in this boat. Because, you know, he doesn't have a college education. I'm not saying he's dumb or anything. He just doesn't have an education. So he doesn't know about history or politics or philosophy or things that he might not have read. He hears a lot of things. He doesn't read, so whatever. But he hears this shit on right-wing radio, and he repeats it. And he said to me yesterday when I was talking to him, and he said that you know, the R word is coming back. We're bringing it back, like he said it, because he was trying to be funny. And I don't think that's funny, frankly. So I invited him to do what John Fugelsang said: go into a school for developmentally disabled kids or Down syndrome kids or whatever, you know, and just starts telling them. Tell them you're bringing it back, okay? Because I don't want to hear it. I think you should be ashamed for even thinking that's funny. Why is that funny? It's not funny. It's cruel. It's stupid. And it's absolutely deplorable. It says everything about the person and people, you should be ashamed, really. And trust me, this is exactly what I said to my friend. And he shut his fucking mouth. But because if we don't say things like that to people that we love, then how will they learn? Because if I said something stupid like that, I would expect my friends to set me straight. I would, you know, we all have blind spots. Mine isn't that, thank the Lord, because I'm not a fucking deplorable dirtbag. Not that my friend is, but it's like he's being influenced by deplorable dirtbags. And there's no excuse for this. I'm sick of it. I don't know about you. I'm sick of the cruelty. I'm sick of the stupidity. I'm sick of the devolution. I'm sick of these maggots dragging us back, these albatrosses around our national necks, our neck, I should say. You know, just dragging us back to what? You're not taking us back to the good old days. That's not the good old days. You know, where we're going, where progressives are going. That we're going to a future worthy of the sacrifice, of the ultimate sacrifice that Renee Good made, that Alex Preddy made, that everyone in the beaches of Normandy left their last full measure of devotion. The people who died on the battlefield here at home fighting conservatives. who couldn't wrap their mind around having a country that worked for more than just them. And I'm sick of it. Well, okay, let's see. Hold on. Here's Melania. Oh, shit. Hit the wrong button.
Before, from seeing the movie?
I think in every scene they will see how I work, who I am, how I communicate with people.
Communicate.
And they will know me a little bit more.
Who cares?
They know I'm a very private person and I'm a very selective person. What I do, what I don't do, when I talk, when I don't talk.
You're a bribe,
and
bitch.
that's my choice. And nobody is in charge of me and nobody else.
What do you hope that?
Oh, my Lord. I may learn. People will know. Nobody cares. No one knows. No one wants to know. That's why the theaters are empty. You can't even give this shit away. You can't give those tickets away. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them. That speaks volumes, because what we found out weekend or whatever since this movie opened is that Russian bots don't go to movies. Russian bots can't go to a movie. Russian bots can't. They can't put their asses in the seat of a movie theater. Neither can, the bots wherever they are created all over the world, all these right-wing fake-ass accounts. None of them can go and put their asses in a movie seat. Oh my God. But they act like they act like they think they're getting over. Like this is a real documentary. Why even go through the motions, Melania? Just take the fucking money. Wait, why? Look at me. I'm zooming in on myself by accident. Because everything's out of control. What the hell? Right? Like, just take the money. Why even make a mockument or document? Why can't I talk? Why even make a bribementary? Why go through the motions? Just give the bitch $40 million, Jeff Bezos. Save us all this ruse. Save us from your insults. Because it's insulting. For you to assume that we don't see right through what the hell is going on. And I'm so glad the whole world spoke in unison. Everyone in the world, in Australia, there was nobody, not a single ticket was sold. Pre-sales in Australia. Who the fuck wants to see it? Who wants to see that? Nobody. That's who. That's who. Oh, okay, so let's play this other clip I had. I'm sure you saw. This is how horrible they are, right? Melania's horrible. They're all horrible. Here's Megyn Kelly. No, not that. She's such a bitch. No, Megyn Kelly. You might have seen this.
On Saturday, a 37-year-old man, Alex Preddy, was shot by Border Patrol agents there after a confrontation. Alex Preddy was there being subversive.
Oh, fuck you.
He was there trying to interfere with the traffic, trying to direct traffic into an ICE operation from the look of it.
No, he wasn't, you dumb bitch. But okay.
He was not there to help.
How dare you? You don't know. You are just Ilsa of the SS.
He was not there to assist law enforcement or make things easier for them. He was there.
That's not law enforcement, by the way. ICE isn't law enforcement. We don't want them. They're not law enforcement. They're fucking Gestapo. They're the enemies. They're the bad guys in the movies. When they start making movies about this time, the ICE, they're not going to be the heroes. Neither is Megyn Kelly. But I don't know. I asked John Fugelsang this too. I asked, do Republicans ever tire of being on the wrong side of history? And his answer quickly was no. And I guess that's it. They don't. I don't know how they stand themselves, really. How do you look at yourself in the mirror, Megyn Kelly, and spew this shit? Okay.
With a loaded gun, looking to cause trouble for the Border Patrol agent.
So he should be dead? That's what she's saying. He should be dead. See, they're not Americans. They hate this country. They are fascists trying to direct traffic. Like, everybody has an excuse. They should be killed, right? Because that's, even though I thought this was the tyranny crowd, the don't tread on me crowd, right? But they're not talking about what we're talking about, freedom, because they're all so full of shit. What they're talking about when they say don't tread on me, they mean don't make me be decent. Don't tread on me. Don't force me to have to associate with people who have darker pigment or who are different than me. I can't do it. Don't force me to not be a deplorable Nazi Ilsa of the SS, hateful monster. Don't do it. Don't make me have to share with people who are different or have to be decent to people or evolve. That's what they're talking about when they mean don't tread on me. Not like be free, not be free in your person, papers, and effects, or, like in the Constitution. That's what they're not talking about, that, because they want to tread all over you. And when maggots see the tyrannical government treading on American citizens, they lick it up. They practically masturbate over it. Oh, he's not there to help law enforcement. And that's the other thing. They're not law enforcement, but even if they were law enforcement does not exist as a mobile execution squad, Megan. Law enforcement exists to take you to, if you are doing something, let's say there's a warrant for your arrest, you're doing something that you need to be arrested for, or they arrest you for. They take you and put you in jail, and then you are processed, and you go to a judge, and then you have your day in court, and the judge, and maybe you go and you have a trial, your jury of your peers and all that. The judge, the law enforcement is not there to execute you, you fucking disgusting Nazi bitch. Okay? It's late, so I can say these words now. Right? And so that's what they're talking about. The Republicans hate freedom. She's just horrible. They're just absolutely horrible, all of them. There's no redeeming qualities to them. And I wish I was wrong, but they keep proving me right all the time. Or I should say correct. Here we go. Let's move forward.
Even if I, Megyn Kelly, went to interrupt law enforcement conducting lawful arrests.
Was that a lawful arrest? We have it on video, Megan, if you check it out. But of course, you have your fascist Nazi glasses on. What were ICE doing? They were attacking a woman. They were spraying her in the face. They knocked her over. They're not conducting lawful arrests. They're fucking terrorizing people in the streets. That's what they're doing. And that's why these patriotic observers are there to keep ICE in check, to make sure that we have a document of all of their abuses, because the day of accountability is coming, Megan. And I know you hate that. She would do so much better in Russia. So would they all. Just go to Russia already. You don't like a constitutionally limited democratic republic born in the liberal age of enlightenment. You hate that. Go away. Go to Russia. Have your authoritarian dictatorship, your hate-mongering, kiss-up, kick-down oligarchy. Megan, you'd be a great mouthpiece for that. You're already primed and prepped. That's what you're trying to do here. Just because you hate freedom and democracy and diversity and e pluribus unum and everything that actually makes America great doesn't mean you get to destroy that system that so many actual patriots sacrifice for, including Ali and Renee Good. You will never understand that, though, Megan, will you? Because you're a complicit, just like all the conservatives. In every historical example, when you look where a fascist dictatorship takes over from a republic, where they overthrow a republic or a democracy, what happens? They do it with the help of the conservative establishment. All the time, every single time, every goddamn example. The Vichy French, that's what we're talking about. That was the conservative establishment. Name it and shame it. Quisling in Norway, name it and shame it. Oh, they had their day of accountability.
And law enforcement operations with a loaded gun tucked into the back of my pants. And then,
how do you know where it was, Megan? He had it in his holster. He had a legal gun, open carry, in an open carry state. You fucking hypocrite. This is the same bitch. If I went and Googled Megyn Kelly, Kyle Rittenhouse, she'd be fucking praising that dumb bitch of Kyle Rittenhouse, who shouldn't have been anywhere near where he was with an assault weapon. He shouldn't have had an assault weapon, and he shouldn't have been in somebody else's town where he had no business being, causing trouble on the wrong side of everything that's good. That's Republicans. They're always on the wrong side of everything that's good.
And I engaged in a physical confrontation with them.
No, what happened was the woman was pushed over and he went and said, "Are you okay?" And he went to pick her up. And then they fucking shot him in the back of the head. You disgusting Nazi.
Physical, where I'm shoving and they're shoving, I'd be in grave danger.
Oh, you bitch. You're poor. But of course, you're never going to be in grave danger because you're a complicit, compliant little Ilsa, who you would be the one giving your neighbors away. Oh, they're hiding an undocumented Uber driver or person. I saw them say, "Come in," and wave them in, and now they're in apartment B. That's Megyn Kelly. She's the one, right? Like the night that Sophie Scholl and her brother were decapitated by the Nazi regime for passing out leaflets that called out the Nazi war crimes and told their fellow students, to wake up and don't fall for the fascism. They had a rally for the janitor who had turned them in, who saw them throw the leaflets over the ledge. And the janitor was I was going to say maid of honor. No, he was the person of honor. They were celebrating him for turning in Sophie Scholl and her brother Hans, from the White Rose Society, the young people in Nazi Germany who stood up and lost their lives. But Megan would be, she's the janitor, in every story. That's who these people are. She's the bus driver telling Rosa Parks to get to the back of the bus. She's the slave catcher, after the Fugitive Slave Act, hunting down free men and women, trying to return them to slavery. That's who she is. She's, who's the woman who conspired with the Confederates in Lincoln's assassination? That's who she is. In every period in history, there's a conservative on the wrong side of decency, of dignity, of democracy, of humanity. Prove me wrong. Serious. If you have an example of them not being on the wrong side, let me know.
Grave danger. Yes, the gun is definitely going to amp up the police officer's reasonable fear for their own safety.
For their own safety, he was disarmed, you bitch. And then they killed him. They shot him in the back of the head and kept shooting him 10 times while he was laying prone on the ground. You Nazi monster. She's a monster. How can anybody watch that clip and make excuses for the Gestapo? Right? It's really true. This is who they are. She's the one, there's a very good movie. It's called Anthropoid. You should watch that, about the assassins that were they were parachuted into Czechoslovakia, and they assassinated Heydrich, right? Heinrich Heydrich. And then that was how the town of Lodice was decimated, razed to the ground. But then they were hiding. They were hiding in a church. Then they were exposed. One of their, contacts went to the Gestapo and, told on them. Said they're in the catacombs of the church. That's where they're hiding. That's Megyn Kelly. You see, she would be the one going to the Gestapo and telling them, look, these freedom fighters, these actual heroes, they're hiding in the church. Anything to save their own skin, Megyn. That's who they are.
Up the police officer's reasonable fear for their own safety. But even without me having a gun in this scenario, I'd be in grave danger.
Reasonable fear of their own safety. Well, I'm so sick of this I'm in fear for my life bullshit from these Gestapo maggots. In fear for my life. I'm fear for my life. This is what Republicans say all the time when they want to excuse murder. Stand your ground or whatnot. It's always, I'm in fear for my life. I'm in fear for my life. Well, fucking then you shouldn't. You're such in fear for your life. You're so trigger happy. You're a danger to society. Jesus Christ.
Because without me having a gun in this scenario, I'd be in grave danger.
Well, that's the end of... Well, I'm just going to lower this because I want to finish this.
And just ask George Floyd.
We can't because he's dead. Are you cool with that too, Megyn? Yeah, of course she is. Resisting arrest can lead to bad things. Oh, so he should have put his knee on George Floyd's neck. Okay, that's bad things. See, this bitch have something like that happen to her because she's white. She doesn't understand. She doesn't have any concept of her white privilege or in her tiny mind. That doesn't exist. And even if it does, oh well. From their perch in their ivory towers, they'll make life difficult for everyone else. They have not a decent bone in their bodies. That's why we're in big trouble because of people like them and their message, that they get this message out there. And it's not that, okay, good. It's not that she's even saying this, right? I mean, I wish she wasn't such a devolved bitch, but it's that she's got millions of followers and millions of people, thumbs up, right? And we can't compete. I don't know. I can't. I don't have this platform. I wish I did. This is how the world is upside down. Well, everything that sucks. She doesn't have to sit here. Please become a patron. Please become a patron. She's spewing hate. It's never enough hate for Megyn. But, she's the real deal. So what else is she going to do? She believes in the hate. Very sick people. We share the world with very sick, horrible people. Right? Ugh. She's like, where was that other? I wasn't shot by ICE because, you know, I didn't interfere. Of course you wouldn't interfere. You wouldn't stand up for anybody. We don't expect you to. That's the maggot way. That's the right-winger way. That's the conservative way, the search for the superior moral justification for selfishness, for not giving a shit about anybody but yourself. That's Megan. That's her whole platform. This is the whole right-wing platform. That's Trump's platform. That's the Republican platform. Right? It's don't care about anybody. Leave everybody behind. Get. Take me. Everybody else is they're the R word. They're disgusting. You know, they're woke. They should be drink their tears. Jesus. But she's like, oh, I'll never. I would never interfere. Why would you? You would never. Of course, we know that, Megan. You would never pull a hair for another human being. You don't care. You're too selfish. When you see injustice, you make excuses for it. That's your role in this horrible timeline that we're in. You're like Ilsa of the SS. You're Tokyo Rose. You're everything that sucks, that poisons people's minds, that keeps people divided. You wouldn't ever, you know, all the freedom bullshit you talk about. That's what's so irritating, you know, because they're all like, freedom. They hate freedom. Their freedom is the freedom to be horrible to other people. That's freedom to them, and not give a shit. Not pay your taxes, because why? Me. I don't want to pay my taxes, because that might mean somebody can go get a fucking doctor. Go to a doctor. That's not my problem. Remember that during the Obamacare, the whole debate, your health or your problem? That's what they would say. Your health, your problem. But when it's their health, it's everybody's problem. Then they start fucking whining and bitching and moaning and, you know, I didn't know, I didn't see, I didn't know. Oh, God. It's the perpetual selfishness. It's psychopathy. Like a child, like, you know, toddlers and, well, infants, when they're born, they're the center of the universe. And then you start branching out and saying, oh, I'm not the center of the universe. You start, that's when most toddlers start evolving. I was going to say devolving, but that's what maggots do. They start evolving to realize, oh, other people exist. Other people are in the world. And, you know, there are ways that we behave. And that the maggots never evolve past the toddler stage where they're not the center of the universe anymore. They never. The center of the universe is very crowded with conservatives. It's stuffed to the gills with right-wingers. Wow, this fucking thing keeps moving. But I when I watched this clip, and she's like, you know why I'm not dead? Because I wouldn't get involved. Oh, really? What a surprise. I wouldn't interfere because I didn't interfere with law enforcement. That's not law enforcement, but okay. Yeah, of course not, Megan. You're the one making excuses for the murder of patriots. You're the ones making excuses for the Gestapo. It's disgusting. And that's what I mean. Yeah, I know. Carol says, ugh, that useless slug, waste of air, that woman. And it's true. But this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're up against. What? Let me see. I didn't see it. Tara, did you see that one Republican talking about his health problem? No, I did not. Well, do you know his name? Let me see. Who's now in the House? Let's see. Let's see what the AI says. Based on recent reports, few lawmakers whose health situations have garnered attention, but most prominent recent incidents involving Republicans include Doug LaMalfa. Well, he passed away. Joe Wilson in September. Well, that's 2024. Yeah, I don't see. If you're thinking of John Larson, who had a visible concerning pause while speaking in February of 2005, well, that's past. I don't know. You got to give me a name, kid. Anyway, all right. We have a lot of work to do. It's getting late. Now we're going overtime here. Ugh. My God. And we got, all right, I'm going to go because I got to go to bed. I'm tired. If you can, see this thing up here? Where is it? There. That's my Substack. Subscribe to my Substack. That'll help. Yes, exactly, Michael, on the chat. She is a traitor. Yes. They're all traitors. They're traitors. That's what I appreciated the other day when we played the clip of Michael Fanone getting into it with one of those election denying traitors. And he called him, and Michael Fanone called the guy a traitor. And he is a traitor. And that's how we have to call them. These are not small d Democrats who just have a different, more conservative view on how to make a more perfect union. No, they're traitors trying to overthrow the United States. Like, that's what Trump is doing. And actually, I'm writing an article. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, a video or an article. I don't know. I have a lot to do. But I will write an article today, but I got sidetracked about, getting this country back from the coup that's going on. Because Trump he's signaling it. This is the one good thing that Trump is, he's such a baboon. But the good thing is that we have to start calling it out now that they're trying to steal the midterms. That's what all of this bullshit is about. Because, otherwise they'll get away with it if we don't call it out. So by the time it continues, they're not going to be able to get away with it. I'm just shocked that they got a judge to sign off on any kind of warrant. And it goes to show you that we have really allowed these right-wingers to put on all their America-hating, termites into our pillars of democracy that are just whittling away. Just like when I've been saying for years, when Mitch McConnell and they're stuffing the bench, stuffing the courts with all of these unqualified maggot types. They're doing just what the Nazis did. That's exactly what the Nazis did. And I guess because the Democrats are spineless and they will pee their pants if they tell the truth about Republicans, they will never call it out. They should have called it out. This is what the Nazis did. You corrupt every pillar, and of course it's not going to work. That's why I don't know if you saw the video of these guys that went to Tom Suozzi's town hall. That was pretty good. Let me see. We could play that video, and then we'll call it a night. So Tom Suozzi, who voted for ICE, and here's another video I wanted to play that really pissed me off. Wait, I'll put it here. Wait. There's a process of playing videos. So Tom Suozzi, who is a Democrat, he's one of these that really gets on my nerves. He's one of these Democrats. He's always like, we can't be mean to the maggots. We got to work together. People want us to work bipartisanly. He always writes, you could count on him and the New York Times for giving him space to write this bullshit. People want us to work together. No, they don't. No one votes for politicians because they want them to work bipartisanly. No one, they might say that, actually, because I did see some, it was a Republican, of course, on TV when they interview Republican voters. They're like, oh, we just want them to, why can't they get along? Why can't they work together? On what? What are they working on? As if working together on what? You don't want them to work together on the destruction of America, lady. You want them to work together on, okay, let's have education for all, universal health care. Let's regulate the banks. But that's not what they're working on, lady. So, no, we don't want them to work together. People want people who will fight and work for policies that improve the lives of others, of everyone, not just Traitor Trump. But here's this activist group, Climate Defiance, that went to Tom Suozzi's town hall and gave him a piece of their mind.
9 people were killed by ICE this month, and you're throwing me out while I'm reading their names? How fucking dare you!
Yep.
I know you voted to increase ICE funding, yes. So I wanted to get something for you. This is an adult diaper for when you feed yourself.
Good.
You're the type of leader we need right now. Someone who soils themselves with ashes around our...
I didn't know we were doing gifts up top. I actually also have some gifts. I have some knee pads for you. You can use these while you blow Donald Trump.
I just would like to say really quick, as a Jewish man, I have never felt safer than when there is a masked Gestapo in the street.
Tell Good you made a mistake. Tell Alex Pretty you made a mistake in expanding funding of ICE after Renee Good had already been shot in the streets.
Nobody could have predicted that ICE would have been killing innocent people. The only way we can fight...
Oops, I hit the wrong one.
Anti-Semitism is by aligning ourselves with white supremacists.
Alex Peretti, Renee Good, Keith Porter. I'm reading names of people killed by ICE. You're gonna touch me? You're gonna touch me? Alex Peretti, Renee Good,
I don't know why
Keith
people are putting
Porter,
hands on these people.
These people were killed by ICE this month. You're gonna throw me out? These people, 9 people were killed by ICE this month, and you're throwing me out while I'm reading their names? How fucking dare you?
Good for him. That's the outrage we should all feel. And who is this asshole dragging the guy out? Shame on you. Shame on you. Oh, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was cut off like that. That's annoying. I'm sorry about that. Who's this fucking guy dragging the guy out? Okay, and then here's another concerning video that I have. If you saw this.
Can you please be specific about how many ICE and how many Border Patrol agents are currently operating in the state?
I think we're near 3,000. There's been some rotations.
Oops, sorry. Wrong button. And just, I don't want to hear the whole thing. This is what I want to play.
People, a lot of the agents, they've been in theater. Some of these people have been in theater for 8 months.
In theater? Some of these people have been in theater for 8 months. Where the fuck are you? Vietnam, bitch? You're in Minneapolis. You're in America. You're in an amazing American city. with your fellow Americans. You're not in theater. Fuck you. I am so sick of these Republicans. They're sick. You're in theater? Oh, they've been in theater for 8 months. Well, how do they deal in theater? They're in this alien war zone, right? Trucker John says it's like a war zone. It is a war zone because MAGA made it that way, but they're not here. How dare you speak like this? That's why I'm so tired of these right-wingers. And I'm not going quietly into that dark night. And if it comes down to it, we will secede. We will. And let them all fucking go. Just let them go. Let them all have their horrible, backward-ass shithole country. If that's what you want. Can't force them to be decent and modern and have science and medicine and education. Oh, well. More for us then. More, I'm so tired of my blue state dollars going to prop up these goddamn poorly run red states, and they don't even have the manners, the decency, the maturity to say thank you. All right. All right. Is Tara's cat pulling the plug? Should we pull the plug? Okay. We will. Have we had enough? All right, I'm going now. What else? Okay, so this Tuesday, the president of End Citizens United is going to be on the show, on the really big show. Let me see. And her name is Tiffany Muller. Muller? Muller. M-U-L-L-E-R. Muller. You're enjoying the show, Karen? Okay, good. I was enjoying it too until I was told to pull the plug. I'm just kidding. I'm not, I'm very, I am tired. I'm tired. What was I did have another clip though. Where's the other clip? Okay, we'll play one more clip. Okay, and then we'll call it a night. This son of a bitch. Todd Blanche. He really got on my nerves.
And no, I don't have anything to share about that.
And to follow up on that, do you have a reaction to the arrest of Don Lemon overnight?
Do I have a reaction to what?
To Don Lemon's arrest overnight.
Do I have a reaction to it? I don't know what that means. What are you looking for me to do? Jump up and down? No, I don't have a reaction to it. I don't know that.
So you see what I'm talking about? This is who these pricks are. You have a reaction to it? You're a fucking adult. You're the deputy attorney general. What do you want me to do? Jump up and down? No, bitch. We want you to act like an adult and, give us a statement. What do you think about it? You're the deputy attorney general. No, honey, we don't want you to jump up and down unless you want to, because I know you're a fucking toddler. Like you're a goddamn sociopathic standard bearer. Jump up and down. Why don't you go wander? Look out the window a little bit. Look at your ballroom. Why don't you go hang a picture of Putin? That's what he did. That's what Trump did. They put a picture of himself and Putin up in the White House. All you assholes are traitors. You want me to jump up and down? No, I don't have a reaction. Jump up and down. Yeah, jump up and down, bitch. Maybe then you'll fucking have a purpose in life. Jump up and down like a baboon. Why don't you just act like a baboon? Do it. Go full baboon. You're all devolved, so embrace it. What do you want me to do? I want you to give us a statement. Talk to us like a goddamn adult might. An adult that has a real big boy job. You got a big boy, big pant, put on your big boy pants kind of job. Deputy Attorney General. Wow. You're a real big boy now. But They can't. They don't know how to behave. They don't know how to act. So I'm so sick of Republicans, you see, because this is what we were talking about with Bella earlier. My whole life, growing up, when I was younger, oh, how are we going to tell the children? What are we going to do? You know, the president got a blowjob. What are we going to say? What are we going to do? Then what about the children? But now, everything that they have ever made us endure has just been a performance, as I have warned for years. I've always said they're full of shit. And every Republican chess beats the heart of fascism, that they have no decency, that they lack the maturity that it takes to function in a free democratic society. But they've all been unleashed, and they're all horrible. Because anyone who's not horrible has already left this party. The Republican Party is dead. It's the Republican Party now. So, of course, you know, what are you going to say? Instead of having an intelligent response, because they don't have any intelligent responses. They're all out of that. And all they have is antics. You know, they got the show. They got the performance. What do you want me to do? I know you are, but what am I? I'm rubber, you're glue. You want me to jump up and down? Why don't you fucking just why don't you fucking just jump up and down over a fucking cliff? Legally and peacefully. And leave us alone. Go to Putin. Jump up and down in front of Putin. Or maybe jump up and down in front of your baboon standard bearer. Maybe a couple of coins will fall out of your pockets and he can pick them up. Because that's all that matters, right? You get a couple of pennies, a quarter or two. He'll be like, oh. We could shove it in that pit that we all have to pay service to. The whole world has to service the pit. Donald Trump's fucking hole. His greed-centered hole. We all have to be dragged into it. Just shove it all in there, right? But that's how they all act. What do you want? No, I don't have a reaction. No, you wouldn't have a reaction. Why would you when a journalist gets arrested for doing the crime of journalism? Oh, well, he did it in a church, and they're godless. But these maggots, they never said shit about how that anti-gay Westboro Baptist Church, right, that would disrupt services, picket outside the funerals of service members who died in suckers and losers, right? I'm sorry. I'm mad. What do you want? I'm so tired of them. Aren't they tired of themselves, you think? Right? So fucking horrible. The way that the way they disrespect this nation by acting like that. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. They disrespect us. They disrespect the American people. They disrespect the office that they hold, that they shouldn't hold. The way that they act like that, it should be unacceptable. But, oh well, you know, liberal tears, own the libs, drink the tears. Drinking liberal tears. Oh, did I make you cry? Yeah, well, you know, you're destroying my country. So it gets a little upsetting. But enjoy my tears, bitch. Because guess what? We will win. We will win. And you will be remembered as the horrible deplorables that you are. It's the truth. All right, guys. Yes, it is 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I keep hitting the microphone with my hands. I'm sorry. Thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News, for keeping the show going and growing, and for all you do. Thank you for the shelters for the cats. My lordy lord. Yeah, stay warm. I got to go out tomorrow and check, do the rounds, make sure everybody's okay. I don't know. It's very sad. I wish I could find somebody. There's one, I told you guys, there's one community cat that's elderly or a senior now. Old. But I wish I could find him a retirement home. Is there anybody in the tri-state area that wants to take in a challenge? He's been out there for 10 years, this poor thing. I don't know. Okay. His name is Blackie. He's a good cat. He's not friendly. I mean, he's a feral, but you would have to work with him, you know. But there comes a time, you know, they can't live on the street. They're gonna, I mean, imagine being an old person living on the street. That's what it is. So, anyway, I'm just putting it out there. 20 degrees in Central Florida. Wow. Yeah, no, I went out earlier because I had to take out some recyclables. And I didn't put on my coat. I just had I had a sweat jacket on. And I was like, I'm only going out for a minute. I swear to God, I was in pain. It was painful out. I was like, oh my God. And my teeth were chattering. I was only out, I'm not even kidding, like a minute. So it's bad out there. Pray for little Blackie. Yeah, pray for him. All right. Hope he's okay, really. All right, my friends, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all your support, all the amazing super chats, and everyone for being awesome. And on the Substack, thank you, everyone, for, wow, a lot of super chat. Did I miss any? Oh, my lordy. Oh, geez. Some came in when Bella was on. Let's see. Carol, thank you for being a member of the Booty Boo. Little Booty Boo member. Thank you, Mark, for your super chat. Most excellent discussion. Viva la democracy. Yes, thank you, Bella, for making it that way. Thank you, Jeffrey Giraffe, of course, for your amazing, man, generous super chat. Thank you, Frida, for your super chat. Frida says, raise you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark, for your super chat. Another super chat. Better people see him melt than pass for now. Yes. Thank you, JD Christie, for your super chat. They filled in rules, right, rather than desegregate. They will take a loss to keep others down. Nothing new. Moms Russo, thank you so much for your super chat. Tara, there's a rash of young boys and men gambling. Oh, that's not good. Just trying to fill that hole, right? That God-sized hole, as they say in the rooms. Well, so to speak. Thank you, Pookie's mommy, Irene, for being a member. Nice to see you. We stick together, we win. And thank you, Surrender Monkey, for being a Booty Boo member. Thank you, JD Christie, for the profanity bonus. Thank you, Jim D. Berg, for your contribution to the swear jar. I love it. Thank you, Susie, for your super chat and the cool black cat emoji. And thank you, Surrender Monkey, for your super chat in pounds. Nice to see you. Wow. You lucky bastard. It's not tax-free, but you don't have to lap dance Donald for a tax-free inheritance. Exactly. So there's that. All right, my friends. Thank you for hanging out. We'll do it again next Friday. And Tuesday, we're going to have our Tarabuster Tuesday discussion with the president of End Citizens United. That should be a good one. And there you go. We'll take it from there. All right, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great weekend. Any movie recommendations, put them in the chat. And yeah, I'll keep the chat open a little bit before I shut down the stream while I get the show ready and all that. So, guys, remember, I want to thank Bella for checking out the show tonight and being a part of the Tarabuster show. She will be back. Bella, the associate producer of Stephanie Miller and our Gen Z representative. And yeah, we will win. Thank you, Charlie, APS Radio News. Check out APS Radio for classic rock and oldies all day and classical music. You can put it on, just keep it on in the background. That's what I do. All right, my friends. You're the best. Yes, thank you, mods. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Susie. All right, my friends. I didn't see Redfoot in here, but thank you, Redfoot. All right, my loves. We will win. We will win. Yes, we will. Because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Why does this camera keep moving? It's like, my name is Tara Devlin. We stick together, we win. And I will see you on Tuesday. I'll see you Tuesday, 2 p.m.